All right, hello everybody. I've got a really great one for you. This is the Sorcerer Summit Season 2 championship match. Winner of this gets 200, I think. Second place gets 50. We have Brainstorm and Felix. Felix is European and has stayed up late to help us finish this series out. Right now, as you're watching this Monday, yesterday was the start of Season 3, so joining the server, we have a side event going called, it's a 40-20 singleton, so every single card in your deck is a one of. It's a lot of fun, pretty janky, but something fun to do on the side. There's no sign up for that, you just look for a game and it's all good. But this one here is two Druid decks made it to the top. And funnily, they're both water fire, and they're very similar lists. I'll have the links in the description. And then after this game, I'll have a top 8 list. I will have the stats real quick and go through the top 8 decks. But these two lists are very similar. They both have Morgana Le Fay. I think they both have Pact with the Devil. Also, I think Riptide, and I think Felix is playing Geyser, so those two are like the 2-mana cantrips, flood a thing, move stuff, and both are playing Pond and Lugbog Cats. Lugbog Cats off of Pond is really difficult to deal with on turn 2, and they're also playing lots of deserts. When I've played against Druids, it feels like deserts and ping damage it just deals with Tawny so efficiently. It's really, really strong. Felix here plays a Swiven Scout, sees Brainstormer's hand, and has really good information. And so the Sarkane Raiders in hand kind of like isn't so surprising. And also the Pact with the Devil in Druid is really, really strong. It's 4 mana, but it's draw 3. Tawny has really a cost because you're playing lands and you're just doing stuff. Playing a Violent to pop the Swiven Scout, and the Swiven Scout did its job, and that's all we really can ask for it. See your opponent's hand, kind of get an idea of what's coming, be able to plan around it. Felix did win the die roll, so he's on the play, and that is really strong in the game of Sorcery. You kind of like can set the tempo, but kind of your first play being a Swiven Scout isn't a lot of tempo pressure, so this is a very mid-rangey grind game of value creatures. And oh man, this was just a really good game. This is why I love Sorcery. This is why I fell in love with this game. The movement, the positioning, the minions, like this board state is just a wonderful pile of cards, and like it feels like chess. And this is why I love Sorcery. Games like this minion battle. So Felix plays Morgana on 3, which is really good. He doesn't have any pressure. I think he has a red cap, a Geyser, and a Brother Knight under there. Brainstormer here drew a sight for turn. He has plenty of card draw in hand, so I really like him drawing a sight here. Just helps him play sights throughout the game without like having to tap for a sight. Lugbog Cat being able to play on top of your opponent's avatar is really good. I know this is looks like a unicorn, but it's almost better than a unicorn. The positioning advantage you can have with this and the pressure you can apply is really, really strong. So Babbling Brook here on 14 is really good. It shuts down that site for a turn or two, and there's a little bit of a confusion on Brother Knight's Genesis getting turned off. So there's some, I should also say I cut out some dead thinking time. This game was about 40 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. Just to speed it up for watching ability. If anybody wants to see the full game, I'll have an unlisted link for the full game, unedited, no cuts, no nothing in the description. So here Felix has to deal with the cat. I don't know if he really has to, but he has the card advantage to do it right now. Those 2 cards is what Brainstormer wants kind of to burn through. You kind of you want to win the card advantage race, but with Morgana, it's really really hard to do that with the 3 extra cards right there. So Felix's hand is really about 6 a size of 6 spells. And then here, the Pact with the Devil kind of evens out that game plan right now. But Brainstormer also has a Morgana in hand, so he really has 3 extra cards on Felix. So right now it's pretty even, maybe a little tilted toward Brain. So Tawny being sacked with a Pact with the Devil and moving up. So this is where positioning comes in hand. It comes in really strong. That Violent played on 3 probably could have been played on 8. Still dealt with the Cat and then attacking for 2 this turn. And so now it comes down to Brother Knight. And I think this is why I'm not a huge fan of Brother Knight in non-Flamecaller lists. Is because Storm has a Imp in hand, and that Imp is going to be able to take one Brother Knight out. And for 2 mana, I know it's 2 minions on board, but that 2 toughness is just so fragile. And a lot of 2 toughness creatures into Druid, Tawny can throw herself into something and get another ping off a desert. So there's just so many easy ways to get rid of 2 toughness creatures right now. So I think you kind of need to be at 3 and 4 to be a little stickier. And 5, you need some hard removal to deal with. So here comes the Violent, takes care of a Brother Knight. And this is like a hard choice to be in. Sarkhan Raiders, I think, is what he ended up playing, trying to clear out the board. And then the Brother Knight blocking the Sarkhan Raiders makes a lot of sense, because if it just eats the Violent, you kind of lose on like minions on board, and then you have to attack it with Brother Knight. So right now we're in the middle of the game trying to trade minions effectively. Brother Knight did like cause Brainstorm to like play more cards, but I don't know. Maybe if that was just like a cat or a unicorn or just a bigger toughness body, maybe this is like a little different. But it is what it is. And yeah, pass and turn. Get a Warhorse and a Sir Gawain, I think is the Sir there. The one that untaps and kind of has like pseudo vigilance. It's very interesting. There is still a Red Cap and Geyser under Morgana right now. So Desert takes care of Tawny. It feels bad to play Druid and have your Tawny being taken away every single turn with just a land, but she has just great value to be a minion floating around all the time. I really like Geyser in a lot of lists. It adds it's not as good as Blink or something, but sometimes there's a pesky flyer you got to take care of, but mainly it's a great counter to Root Spider. A Root Spider Geyser kills something and draws a card, so it's a 2-for-1. It feels so good. So Geyser gives it things airborne, take care of him, and now Felix is in a pretty good position with the minions on board. He has the pressure, he has the tempo swing. Brainstorm doesn't really have a mass removal spell in hand, so it's kind of it's in a tough spot right now. 20 to 17 needs something big to kind of like stabilize and deal with all the minions on board. Taps play Desert, take care of Tawny. And the Wizard's Den there. Wizard's Den is a great card, so I think he played it on 3, and this is turn 7, so you've got an extra card. It hasn't really affected you. It's probably going to affect you next turn, but I mean, a Riptide in hand is whatever. So drawing Morgana, or playing Morgana, and going to look at his next 3 spells. I think it is a Patosian Cavalry, a Warhorse, and a Riptide. So when his Wizard's Den gets attacked, he still has a Riptide in quote-unquote hand. Wizard's Den is just an amazing card. So it takes care of an imp. Trading profitably is the name of the game right now. You don't want to do one-for-one trades. You'll just kind of like wear resources out. So trading profitably is where you want to be. But with a Warhorse in hand, Felix can Warhorse, move up the Sir, drop the Lance, trade profitably into Praetorian Cavalry, and this is awesome. I just love the positioning and the chess moves that this game has when minions are involved. It is a lot of little decisions, a lot of things matter. Even at the end of this game, there was a bit of a talk. It was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know where the value was lost, like throughout the game, middle and late game. But this is where this value is, or where your game is either won or lost. Your turn 5 through 7, if you're like playing a mid-range game, is so vitally important. And here he rips Atlantean Fate off the top. This is a great like example of I just love this game. He has Morgana's hand. He has a Riptide, so he can Riptide the Poweries over, and then Atlantean Fate his own sites, and not really lose any threshold because it's water, and he gains a water and the ordinary site, and then just be able to come back from this is just so cool. Atlantean Fate takes care of a 4-for-1. This is just kind of wild, but Felix already has him down to 9, so Brainstormer has some work to do to like claw his way back, but it is possible. It's just so cool. All right, enough gushing. Taps and draws the site, and then I think starts to go on an offensive here. He has, what does he have in Morgana's hand left? I don't remember. Attack for 3, get him down to 17. Oh, it's the Warhorse. He has a Warhorse in Morgana's hand. And then Pez's turn. So Felix has a big body coming up with Questing Beast, and Questing Beast is really hard to deal with, and the stealth is really strong. So like, I know it's 5 mana for a 5/5, but the stealth is so good. He also has Shadow Strike in hand, so there's a world where he can attack Floodplain and Shadow Strike all in one turn and take him to door. But Druid has this oh shit button of flipping to go over to Bruin, and Bruin really helps this game like stabilize in Brainstormer's advantage. Gets a Tawny, so I think he's gonna Violent the Tawny and play a cat on Felix's avatar, I think is what he does here. Oh, he also has Warhorse, that's right. So cat and Warhorse. So now Brainstormer has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minions to Felix's 1. And the tempo and the tide has turned. Yeah. And then flip 6, I think, with Bruin. Yeah. Bruin, Tawny, Morgana, Cat, Violent, Warhorse. Just floods the board and goes, I have more minions now. It's very fun. Attacks for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this turn. Takes him down to 13. Oh, 6. Takes him down to 11. I can do math. And should say take a second to thank everybody who played in the first public one. I think we'll have maybe 25 to 30 people in our second public one, our third one overall. Very excited to see what comes out on top with Sorcery and Magoo Band. I know Druid is going to be popular. I think an aggro Flamecaller has a good chance at this as well. There's just so much damage in fire. But here Felix waited a good bit. I cut out a couple minutes of thinking. This was a hard turn, I think. You either attack and kill Bruin, or you attack and kill Cat and kind of like mitigate damage coming in. I think that was the right play because then you can move Questing Beast up and attack next turn, so you're not really losing too much damage. And then I think I would actually play Cat on Felix's Pond and be able to deal with Bruin with that Shadow Strike in hand, because currently as it stands there's no way to deal with Bruin, but playing to your own pawn is a little bit safer. Passing turn, so he knows he's going to get hit for 5 at least. And Vile Imp, Brainstormer has got to take care of the Questing Beast. So in the early game, Felix had a 2-for-1 himself to take care of a cat, and now mid-game and late game, Brainstormer has to 2-for-1 himself. Not really 2-for-1, like 1.5-for-1 to deal with a Questing Beast, but this is a little more impactful at this current time because there's just not as many cards to be used right now. Tap to draw sites. I kind of like maybe moving to the wizard. Site are you really looking for? Expensive. If you're not going to play a site, what kind of site are you really looking for? You're only maybe going to play another site, so you're at 8. I don't know. I kind of like moving over into Wizard's Den. It's just a little bit safer, and like if he plays another minion, it's what have you. And it sets up for like later turns in 3 or 4 turns where you're like, am I going to be at door or am I going to get him at door? In this turn, I think the reason Felix the turn before killed Brainstormer's cat with the blaze was because he was going to be at 8. Oh, he didn't have this. He drew the cat, so he got really lucky with the cat. Taking care of the Bruin with a Shadow Strike is really strong. If there was a ring or something, I really like Shadow Strike as a 1 of, maybe 2 if you're like not in air for grapple shot. Shadow Strike is very strong and deals with all those annoying artifacts that are running around nowadays. So attack for 3. I think this is the turn where it kind of went south for Brainstormer. Blazes his avatar to run himself into his opponent's avatar to take him to door. If he really wanted to take him to door, I like blazing the Warhorse or Morgana more and attacking and using the blaze damage to get him to door. So then you stop on Pond and Morgana is where she is, so you're spread out a little bit more. And then you're at 8. You see there is 8 damage on board, so you're gonna go to door. You don't have a kill in hand. It's just like, ugh. I'm not trying to like be mean or anything. I'm just trying to learn from other people's decisions. So this was also maybe a decision point where playing Sarkhan Raiders up and letting the cat attack into Sarkhan Raiders. It will take 1 damage from the Bruin aura or the Druid aura and trade with the 3/3. But then Felix has a really good answer with Minor Explosion, doing a 2-for-1, and I think that was kind of like what sealed the deal with Warhorse and Morgana up there. He could have Warhorsed up, and no, still couldn't have dealt with Bruin. I don't know. I don't like moving my avatar up there. That feels a little dangerous and bold, but what have you. I think after this he was saying he was looking for a Rolling Boulder. I don't think a Rolling Boulder would have worked through Bruin armor, but in his list there is Snowball, so there was an out if he had gotten a Snowball. Pushed everything into one side, dealt damage. But man, this was a really fun game. I would like to thank all the competitors, Felix and Brainstormer, for playing this. I don't know. This was a wonderful showcase of why I think Sorcery is a wonderful, wonderful game. All right, and going through the top 8 decks here, 8 through 5 is no order, and 4 and 3 are no order. But Druid did a really good performing this time around. I think out of 52 people, there we have a good number of top 8s. Atlantic Fate is the best water card. This is a 3-color Druid. It's playing the Drums of Doom, so like kind of trying to flip early maybe. I'm surprised not to see a Gigantism with Tawny. Is always nice to have. A fun one here is Sir Ironside. Being 7 toughness on your opponent's turn is really hard to deal with. 1 Wyvern is good. And yeah, no, some Grandmaster Wizard for card draw. A really good thing about Tawny is you always have a minion payoff. So like Sir Yvain always has something to do. So that's really strong. 4 waters to ramp out or fix some threshold is really cool. And then everybody's playing the Ring Morgan. So next list here is by Church. It's a very similar list to, not similar, but a very same idea with the Water Fire as the top 2 lists here. Drums of Doom is either you love it or hate it in Druid. I think it's a bit of a trap, but 5 mana, you can't touch me with minions, seems really good. Violence of War Horses. Do you notice? Oh, there's Horse from Kobolds, but Violence are, I think, just better than the Kobolds. Jihad and Great Famine. Love to see Great Famine here. Great Famine is a really good board control aura. Sir Mordred is a really pain in the ass Sir to deal with. I kind of like Sir Pelennor the most, just because it comes down and like effectively does something. Sir Mordred comes down and kills something, don't get me wrong. But sometimes you don't get that second effect to kill something, and Sir Pelennor replaces itself and kills something, and then you have to like, your opponent has to like spend another card to get rid of it, but you're also in fire air, so who knows. Monstrous Lion is a great aggressive card. Boudica with Druid is really strong because you always have that Tawny to attack for 4. Boudica comes down, attacks for 4 mana, really good. Or deals 4 damage. The Rebel Bogart, I haven't seen this a whole lot, but maybe seems pretty good. Red cap for some aggression. Oh, and Cone of Flame. I think this used to be a good finisher. Also, Flame Wave is another great finisher for 6. Especially with Tawny, you can kind of like position it wherever you need to. Seems really cool. Poison Nova, really strong with Tawny. More Shatter Strikes. Shatter Strikes are better than you think. Moving on to another top 8 list, a Fire Earth Sorcerer. Very similar to Fury Road, playing a lot less magics though. Only 2 berries, 2 blazes, and 4 overpower, so you're just like swarming the board with minions every single turn. I think the problem you'll run into is just getting enough sites to do that, but I really like that your splash color here is only 1 threshold, especially with Sorcerer. My Fire Air Sorcerer list, I've cut Hippogriffs out of it because of their double threshold. You can't afford to stumble. Zach made it to, I think, 5th place, or he got knocked out at top 8. This is his Flame Collar Infernal Oddities list. It's a really strong list. I can't speak to a whole lot to it, but Infernal Legion is, I think, my favorite 6-drop in the whole entire game. Come down, deal 3, deal with something. You play a Desert, you deal 4 to something. I know it's 6 mana, but it's like come down, kill a thing. Kind of the same thing as Pelennor or Sir Mordred. And if they use something to get rid of this, you've 2-for-1 them, so it's really, really good in that set. Wildfire is a great removal with all the aggressive 3-power minions. Wildfire just eats those alive. Great Famine for board control, and a splash of air. I'm really liking monocolor lists with splashes. Dual color lists where it's like an even split between everything. The 30 sites makes getting threshold on curve for either or just a freaking nightmare. So consistency wise, I like single color decks with splashes. Going on to the top 4 here. We have 2 Pathfinders in the top 4, which is really cool to see. This Pathfinder is a land destruction Pathfinder, kind of. It has Hamlet's Ablaze and Castle's Ablaze for like tempo swings, and maybe the other one's the what you call it, Land Destruction Pathfinder. Death Dealer is a huge top end, and again, Infernal Legion's really cool. Craterize with Pathfinder, like in Alpha and Beta, was really fun in the beginning. Angel's Egg can be a death sentence for a lot of aggressive decks. They just blank a lot of your minions. Common sense is to go get a Sandworm, who knows, but a Dispel or a Berry or something you need. 3 common senses, I think, is a pretty good spot to be. Sacred Scarabs is also a fun one. You gotta watch out for deserts, but otherwise trade with 4/4s for 2 mana seems real good. Here's the Pathfinder Site Destruction. So top 4, Feel for Cheese. Nice job, but Castle's Ablaze, Hamlet's Ablaze, Year's Ablaze. This thing is a nightmare to play against. If you let them get to Year of the Blaze or they draw it, it is almost GG. It's hard to come back from. Pilgrims for some card draw, Rebex for a aggressive minion. Ascalon Phoenix is great into all the other fire decks. Playing some Root Spiders for defense. More Infernal Legions. I love seeing Infernal Legions. This is just awesome. If you play Infernal Legion against me, I'm just happy. In Assorted Animals, to go find a Warhorse and a Root Spider and Sandworms is really fun. And maybe throw Scarabs in there, but makes a lot of sense. Earthquake is a wonderful removal, and especially in Pathfinder without air, you need some way to like get out of your own like maze you've made yourself. Really cool list here. And our second place list here, Sneaky Balls by I keep saying Brainstormer. My brain sees it as Brain, but it's Brian. Brian Stormer. Sneaky Balls. It has some Fly Foxes. I really like Fly Foxes, but you run into deserts and they just die, so it doesn't feel too great. Violence are really effective. You're still playing Kobolds for that 2 mana. Morgan Le Fay, you saw in that game, was really good and like really impactful. Petrovan Cavalry. I'm surprised you're not playing Sarkhan Raiders. I guess just that threshold issue, but you're also playing Boudica and Morgan Le Fay, so I don't know. Oh, I mean, Sarkhan Raiders is right here. I don't know what I'm talking about. Questing Beast for a top-end card. Plague of Frogs is really strong. Riptide can set up some really good tempo plays, or messing with, like, I have a 4 power, you have a 3 power, but you're not going to let me attack it, so you move the 3 power, kill it, draw a card. Really strong. Smokestacks is a great site. Wizard's Den, 2 of Wizard's Den, but you notice in here, there are only 2 non-threshold sites. I guess you can also count Rift Valley. So 4 out of 30. I think this is like your top end of non-threshold sites you can be playing right now. There's just not enough color fixing. I wouldn't say land fixing, it's threshold fixing. Rift Valley, I really like Rift Valley in like trying to pull apart some defensive sites. Taurus Hammer's Trinket with Tawny is really, really strong. Rolling Boulder with Tawny, play it to Tawny, push it with Tawny. Really, really cool idea here. Kind of feels like Avatar of Era-esque. Have this airborne thing you always like have up in your opponent's business and play with Rolling Boulder to it. Throw it back to yourself, and then you never give your opponent an ability to use it. Oh, and Snowball. Snowball is a really fun card and really strong card too. Especially with Plague of Frogs. Yeah, deal 7 and move everything. And then our winner, Felix with Burning Cascade 2.0. Manuscript is good with Tawny. It's just like, I guess it's 2 mana, draw a card, and sometimes draw more cards. Atlantean Fate and Jihad are amazing auras. Minions here, Swiven Scouts for some information, Violent and Warhorse for aggression. I really like Dragonets. Into the Druid match, Dragonets just eats Tawny constantly, and it feels really strong. Only 2 red caps, which is interesting. The most efficient charge minion. Sir Agravain is one of the really good surge. That movement +1 is really sneakily good, and then you can use Tawny and Sir Agravain to like kill a bunch of stuff and punch things for 4. Boudica is really good. You saw Brother Knight. Brother Knight I think is a little lackluster here, but still 2 bodies is really strong for 1 card. Monstrous Lion for 4 mana removal. This is 4 mana removal in my mind. That leaves a body behind, so in that sense it's really strong. Ruler of Thule can really like catch opponents off guard. Ascalon Phoenix for other fire decks. Courtesan Thias as a finisher. Questing Beast, and 2 more Infernal Legions. Yeah, everybody's playing Infernal Legions. I love it. Yeah. Well, that's our top 8 lists. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again. Be sure to check out the Sorcerer Summit. I'll see you next time. Bye.